I knew as early as February 2020 that I needed to do something.
I recognized that there was a systematic problem and that this was not about hydroxychloroquine, it was something larger.
Fear shut the world down, and people made a lot of money at it as they were killing us.
I was asked to speak at a freedom rally that was set up to discredit my reputation.
Whoever orchestrated this must not have the safety of this nation in mind.
Medicine and politics should be separated. These doctors were handcuffed.
The American public has awakened. We have a new civil rights movement to restore our rights, and we're going to hold them accountable.
It is a natural progression of a man of God or woman of character to see injustice, to seek it out, and then to act upon it.
Do you hear me? We will never lock down again. This is the hill we die on.
Don't miss New American Heroes with attorney Warner Mendenhall and John Davidson, Mondays on BrokenTruth.tv.
This may be the most profound scandal in human history.
This was the answer. This would have halted the pandemic.
I have lost trust in humanity, in my government, in my agencies. Trust is very hard to get back.
Something is going very wrong in this world.
The pharmacists were denying the treatment, which to me is outrageous.
Our generation let this happen. We don't know what to do.
You just have to flood a country's public square with enough raw sewage.
And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
Once they lose trust in their leaders, in mainstream media, in political institutions, in each other, in the possibility of truth, the game's won.
It's being called. With Broken Truth, I'm John Davidson. And sorry for our glitchy intro. We're having a little restream headaches, but no worries. We're getting it all worked out. Today we are with Monica and Petter Drexel. Monica Drexel and Petter Gunnerad. And I have Christine Dolan as my co-host today. Welcome, Christine.
Hi, John. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Monica.
Peter.
So we've covered Monica's story and Petter's story before, and what we've dealt with is that they're a family of homeschoolers in Norway, and their children were essentially taken hostage from them and kidnapped by what they call Barnevernet, which is the Norwegian version of Child Protective Services. So Monica, Peter, could you guys give us sort of a quick summary of what happened and where you're at right now? Oh, not sure. Can you guys hear me? Still no audio? We can hear you. Well, I'll. Hi, can you hear us? Hi, guys. So we can hear you, but I don't think you can hear us. So I'll kind of just do a quick rundown. Let us know when you can hear us. This is international connection. So anyway, so what happened was they were a homeschool family, and we've covered this before on Broken Truth. And one day a neighbor, when they were on holiday in, I think, a northern part of Norway, saw the children, Iris and Saga, playing in the snow. And the kids were ages 8 and 4. So I believe Saga was the oldest. And she was in homeschool, registered with the state or with the country of Norway. She was doing everything right. The family was doing everything right. But because someone saw the children playing during school hours in the snow, they called Barnevernet. And Barnevernet decided to come in and take the kids without even bothering to investigate, which violates all kinds of laws in Norway and due process and everything else.
Which is the way which is the way apparently we're learning that's the way it works for people who are citizens as well as foreigners.
Yeah, there's a movie called Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway, which describes how an Indian in Norway was mistreated in the similar manner with their children.
And it was an infant. She was breastfeeding her infant in that movie. I don't know if that's a Hollywood license, but I mean that was part of the narrative.
Can you guys hear us? Hi, Monica. Hi. Okay, great. So I just gave a quick summary of what happened in your case, but would you like to sort of re-explain to the audience what you've been through and what you're going through right now?
Well, I didn't hear what you said because we got disconnected. But, well, from the start, our children, Saga and Iris, was kidnapped by the Norwegian government on the 5th of March 2024. So they've been away from us for almost 2 years now. Did we lose you again?
We can hear you. We can hear you, yes.
Okay. Because I got a message on the screen, lost connection, but I hope it's working anyway. So the reasons they give for kidnapping to legalize is that we were homeschooling. Well, they said we were not filling up our duties to send our children to school, except that we had a homeschooling with the city administration, except that the city doesn't communicate with the city. So the one department said we were not homeschooling and we did not go to school, and the other department said we are homeschooling and it's approved and we are in control of it, and they even have the teachers coming to our place, meeting us and see how our children are doing with the homeschooling.
Peter, can you explain to the audience, because when people homeschool in the United States, for instance, the Children's Protective Service
I'll try to give you a little bit of background on how it works in Norway. You are perfectly allowed to homeschool, but you have to have some sort of a control mechanism with the homeschooling families. There were over 300 families homeschooling and having approved homeschooling. And so we were registered and we were homeschooling, and everything was supposed to be okay. So these different departments of the state and of the councils don't talk with each other. And we have a so-called child protection service. I have stopped calling it that because they don't protect children at all. But their goal is to, it's basically a human trafficking service. And their goal is to get as many children out of as many families as they can. This is our understanding from 10 years of experience with these people in many different areas of Norway. So what they did was, they know that we are homeschooling and they know that we have approved way of education, which is a perfectly legal choice in Norway. But they went ahead and they reported us to the police, the local police in the same municipality, and we had an open case in the police department for over half a year, where we were investigated for homeschooling. The whole thing is pretty crazy. And just as the police had concluded their case against us and said that there is absolutely nothing wrong with this, this is perfectly legal, and we will put away this case. 1 month after this, this so-called child protection service people come back to us and take our children out of our house. It's really an abduction and a kidnapping, because it's not in any way legal, no matter which legal framework you use. It is internationally, according to the
Oh gosh, we lost them.
Yeah, I guess the.
So let's, I did see that we can continue until they come back, John. I did watch the videotape of the children being extradited from their home in March. It was very dramatic, can suspect. But I think what's interesting, what Monica just said, that there had been an investigation for about 10 years. Their oldest child is 8. So I'm confused about whether it is that for 10 years, this is how Norway has been investigating these homeschooled families, all right? And I'm wondering if the association, for lack of a better word, of homeschool families, interact, communicate. I'm certain that they have some, some type of, group communication. Monica, I was just saying before we lost you, when you, your oldest child was 8, and I watched the abduction tape. Dramatic, and I feel for you both.
Sorry, Christine, your mic is breaking up a little bit.
Oh, now my mic's breaking up. Okay. So I'm interested to know, Monica, did when you said just a moment ago that you had been under investigation for 10 years, was it your family or other homeschooled families?
This is our family's history with this so-called child protection. It started on the day when our first daughter was born, and since that day, they have never left us alone for one single moment. And we have had back-to-back investigations from this so-called child protection, and they have never left us alone, even though they had to put away all the investigations. There was nothing wrong with us, and they have used a lot of different reasons all the time, a new reason, and then they put away this reason for some time, and it comes back. So they put it in the paperwork, and the paper just piles up, and now we have probably 2,000 pages or more, and they recycle these reasons for being worried. Even if you have proven yourself to be perfectly okay, they will still just give it a pause, and then it will come back. So sometimes they say your house was messy, you have to tidy up your house, and then you tidy up your house, and then 5 years afterwards the same reason comes back. Oh, in 2016 your house was very messy, so now we are very worried. And then they keep going until they have a pile of paper that is big enough that nobody will ever be able to go through it and read it. And this pile of thousands of pages is then sent to a court, and they just gamble on the fact that the court will never read these things, and the court will never review them in a real way. I don't know how to say this properly, but you are in a court of law. You are supposed to check that the facts of the case are real. This never happens. You don't have to prove that what you state is true. So you can
All right,
you can state anything, and you don't have to prove that you are not lying. This is how this system works.
Okay, let me back up for a second. Before you go on, Peter, it's very important for people to understand the rules. When you say, Monica, that this started on the day that your child was born, is that the norm in Norway? How do they know when your baby's a day old that you're going to homeschool?
Yeah, at this point, it was not about homeschooling. As I said, I don't know how many reasons they have stated over the years, probably 10 or 20 different things that they are worried. They just have to say, we are very worried, and then they just make up something, or it can be anything. They just need some sort of justification that they will have an investigation, and then they will keep the investigations going back to back. Most years we were investigated actively 3/4 of every year, and we got a little break typically during the summer or when everybody was on holiday, and then they will start again automatically. So they will never.
Did either one
of you
have? Did either one of you have?
Sorry.
Hold on for a second. Did either one of you have a criminal conviction history?
No, there is no such thing in our family. We don't have any real problems, which is why they have had to keep on.
Yeah.
Oh, we're having lots of problems here. Okay. And the reason, and John, the reason why I asked that, what would be the basis of somebody
Probable
targeting
cause, right.
family? Well, yeah, probable cause, but a history. I mean, if somebody's on parole or something like that, or there's a history of beating a kid in the past or something like that,
Yeah.
I can see where Child Protective Service could argue. Watch, okay? But then the question is, why would they do it? And is it the norm in Norway to somebody has a newborn baby and all of a sudden they're put on a list?
So I've interviewed other families, another father whose son was taken for years
in Norway,
and his son was taken again. They essentially just put a psychiatrist in a room with the kid for weeks upon weeks upon weeks until they finally sort of tricked the kid into saying that dad abused mom and him, and then they just swept in and took the kid, no questions asked. They were focused on this father and this kid, and I think the father just recently sued with his son who turned 18, Barnevernet, for what they did, because it was coercion into getting a child to say something. And Monica was actually in medical school, if I'm not mistaken. Monica, can you confirm that you were in medical school, right, when you were pregnant?
I was halfway through my professional medical training when I was forced by the so-called child protection to stop what I was doing, because they were following us during the worst periods. They were in our house without prior notice, up to 3 times every day or night or morning. They were in my bedroom, they were in my bathroom, they were waking me up. They just keep on going until you break down. You cannot continue work, you cannot continue your education, and you lose. Most people lose everything. They lose their lives as they knew them, because it's impossible to continue with a medical school, which requires you to be present.
Yeah, right now Barnevernet's in their garage cutting their internet.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, but see, what's interesting is she's pregnant. She hasn't even had the baby, okay? And she's saying that they're being targeted. But go back to the story you were saying. So the man, when the child was how old when they were targeted for these interviews?
My understanding was that they were targeted while she was pregnant.
No, that's Monica's story. I'm talking about the father and the son who's now suing.
Oh, the father and the son who's now suing. Let's see. His name was Keith. A Father's Fight. That's right. Okay, if you go to brokentruth.tv and you search, you'll see A Father's Fight. His name was Kenneth Skylands. He had a decade-long battle against Barnevernet. Now, I don't know the results of his lawsuit against them, but there's a big Facebook group with families that have been harmed by this organization. Hey, can you check to make sure that Barnevernet's not messing with your internet?
Oh.
I think
He's
Barnevernet.
joking. He's joking.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear us? Hi guys, we're here. Can you hear us? Nope. Still no audio.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
This has been a very challenging interview so far.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to get to the story if you can't talk and speak and hear each other.
Yeah, Peter, why don't you try to come back in one more time? Here, I'm gonna kick you guys out so that you have to come back in. Can you hear us? Hello? Yeah, I'm just gonna remove them. They'll have to come back in.
Okay, so I mean, what's interesting to me is until you brought this to my attention, and I've done human trafficking, I don't know if this would per se be institutional trafficking, coerce, remove. They have to have a profit of this. And where do these kids
that's where
go?
It comes in.
Yeah, but where do these kids get put into a foster care? Somebody makes how much money a year if they're foster parents? You mentioned, I think, 18,000.
No, I think it was more like 65,000.
65,000 in U.S. dollars. Okay, that a family would get paid. And so, what is this to turn kids into? I don't know, youth leaders, socialist youth leaders. What is this all about? I mean, is there a pattern here? Are these Christian families?
Not always. No. Can you hear us, guys? Hey, Monica, can you hear us? Hello, hello. We're here, but we can't hear you. So we'll just keep you here until Peter can figure out what your. Peter, can you hear us?
I don't think he can. John.
Still no hear. We still can't hear you. So, according to Kenneth, he said that 85% of Barnevernet's child removals in 2014 were emergency takeovers, often without thorough investigation.
Right.
And it's permitted by Norwegian law.
Well, it's permitted, but every case is going to be different. Okay.
Yeah. Kenneth had a wife who was Thai, so foreign-born parents may face heightened scrutiny. But Monica and Peter were from Norway, so I don't know what made them, targets of Barnevernet. But once it's, maybe they just had a social media post that was flagged or something. So
I wish Monica and Peter, can you hear us? No, there they go again.
No,
I mean, so you've interviewed them and you've covered this, John. What is? I mean, are they political? Are they?
No, I wouldn't. Nope, they're definitely not religious per se. But what they are is they're independent. So they wanted to homeschool. I mean, Barnevernet.
Well, wanting to homeschool doesn't put a target on your back. It might be the avenue to get you, but I mean, there has to be a motive why they would. In a country with millions, why the hell would they even focus on these?
Well, there are not that many homeschool families, like 500, I think, in the whole country.
So
it's very rare.
She mentioned 300 earlier in the interview. So of the 300 in the families in the country, how many of them have gone through this? What's the percentage? Do we know?
I don't know. We don't know. We don't have information on that. And the courts are very tight-lipped. The entire government just sort of approves this. In fact, inside of Norway, people are shocked to hear anything negative about Barnevernet. They don't know anything about it. It's not really covered by the news. Outside of Norway,
well, people were shocked in the Catholic Church to realize people believe in institutions. People were, shocked to hear about the Catholic Church in 2002. So that doesn't surprise me, but because if they're not part of that type of the system, they're not going to have firsthand experience.
Yeah, this is unfortunately a really bad thing, and it's been going on for quite a while. Now, I've posted up in other articles links to the Norwegian fight. And you know what? While we're waiting for them to do this, I'll play this little video that I made originally in the last interview I did with them I don't know if it was last year. Anyway, here's a quick update.
Prøv å le så bra dere kan.
Slipp meg! De holder meg fast!
Guys, we're showing your video, so we'll get you back to you in just a moment.
Ja, må passe på ikke sparke ut i vannet. Å, så flink.
John, now I can't hear you.
Sorry, that's just user error. So, guys, can you hear us now? Yes.
Yeah, I can
Yes.
We are here now.
Okay, good. A restart fixes everything. So,
Not really, because we barely can hear you. Your sound is kind of cutting up. Like.
How about now? Is that better?
Yeah, I think so.
I think maybe we have a really bad connection here today. I don't know.
Yeah.
What the problem is.
So, just to catch up, you guys told me earlier that you saw.
Honest to God. Okay, the devil's got a hold of these wires.
Big
okay.
on Satan.
Yeah. So what needs to happen is I'm curious about if there's other Norwegian journalists that are covering the case. Just because that somebody says they don't. I mean, has there been anything? I mean, we need to, John. We need to get in touch with the Finnish. The Norwegian press club. And find out in the headlines, because there's a story here.
Oh yeah.
If there's a pattern here, and if people are making false complaints, a kid out on a snow slope should not be the reason to be taken out of a house.
Right. Well, once you're on their radar, it's only like a matter of time before they find some.
Well, I say yes, no. I'm very skeptical of just having those conclusions. I think you've got to have a cause. But what I want to know from Monica and Peter, why were you targeted from the beginning when you're pregnant, Monica?
No, we can't hear you.
Now we can't hear you.
Nope.
I think this should be redone.
Well, we're live.
I know, but I think we should kill it, because this isn't working, because they can't communicate, and the audience can't listen, and we can't get answers to the question.
So
I think
yeah, Peter, do you want to try unplugging the microphone and just doing it with the regular mics? Yeah, we can't hear you.
I think.
There you go.
Yeah, now we can hear you. Now hear you.
Well, the issue is the bandwidth. So whenever something in the air turns the mobile signal down, we fall out because of the high resolution video, I guess.
Well, start talking, because we can hear you now, Peter.
Yeah. So, Monica, why were you originally targeted when you were pregnant the first time? Why did you get?
Know. We were pretty normal people back then. We had not figured out a lot of things about the state of Norway back then, and we knew nothing. And I was in medical school. I was a normal person. My plan was to send them to school, but we decided to have a home birth, and the midwife did not turn up when I was giving birth, and we just got the message that you have to just do this on your own, or then otherwise you have to go to the hospital. And we didn't really want to go to the hospital, but we were sort of forced to go to the hospital because we have never given birth before, all on our own, and we thought that could be a. And because of this situation, I asked for an ambulance to come and get me, because I thought that it would be more comfortable to be in the back of an ambulance where I could lie down, which turned out to be a fatal mistake, because the ambulance driver was not very happy having to come and get me from this planned home birth. Which is also a choice that is not normal to make. Not many people do this. So yes, it's true that you are sort of targeted once you make choices that are not like everyone else.
So I
this
haven't
is
been.
what happened.
I haven't been to Norway in a
So-
long time, but is the culture such that that the government has taken over people's lives where you have to follow the rules?
Oh, definitely. They want to decide down to the last detail how you live your life and what you're gonna do. And this is really at the heart of what we are battling right now. It's the right to privacy in your life. It's the right to make your decisions for yourself. It's the right to not have a state that is meddling into every detail of your life. Whether it is about education or how you're going to give birth to your sons and daughters or anything else, really. Vaccinations. There are a long list of things that the state of Norway wants you to do because this is the way we do it here. And if you don't fit in, then we will come for you. This is the message, really.
Monica, did you reject vaccines when you had your first daughter?
We did not know what to do. We were we were a little bit skeptical, and our first daughter has been vaccinated. She has gotten some of the shots, which we regret, of course. Now that we know better, now we have stopped, and this is also a personal choice. So this is just another aspect of all this, of the problem with having to do with a state that wants to decide, how you're going to live your life and what choices you're going to make. But the law, the Norwegian legal framework, does not open any possibility for the state to make these decisions for you because it's your private life. You are entitled to make these decisions without being prosecuted by the government, of course. So legally, if they cared about following any law at all, this would not be a problem at all. This, I usually say, this is not really a case. It's a non-case. It should never have been a case at all. It's just unsubstantiated claims and just a whole lot of claims about nothing, really. We have shared our papers now with a handful of people, and they are shocked. You have thousands and thousands of pages written by people who their only goal seems to be to keep themselves in a job somehow, and they have to make up something to be worried about as many children as they can, because otherwise they will not be paid. And this is where we come back to we want to call it just human trafficking, because we are talking about hundreds of thousands of Norwegians who are employed in a system that just moves money from the taxpayers' money, which should have been used for services to the people, to the civilian population, and they are drawing out huge sums of money from this base, from the taxpayers, and the money that we should be using for something better.
How much money?
They are taking it into private pockets.
How much money
This is what is happening.
How much does a foster family make per child?
For 1 year.
For some children, the government pays out about $3,000 per day.
Per day? Do you mean per month?
No, $3,000 every day.
All right, so let me back up.
That's for some of them, but that's not most of them are this high. Most of them are like $6,000-7,000 a month. But
so what about your
children? Are these children placed in homes, or are they placed in institutions, Peter?
They are placed in homes.
So it's a family home.
it's supposed to be a family home, but this family seems kind of weird. So we don't really know, and we are not allowed to ask. We met our daughters today, and the police is standing like 5 meters away, while these women are monitoring everything we say or do. And once these women figure out we said something we were not allowed to say, and once these women just say, "Oh, you said something we're not allowed," then police will come and get us and take our children away again. And we have been allowed to see them for 2 hours every second month. And that's after we had not seen them at all for a full year.
So I can give an example of this. Today, what happened was that our youngest daughter was talking about some dogs that live in the place that she is being held hostage now. And Petter was asking, which kind of dog do you have? And these women cracked down on us and stopped everything, started to threaten us and saying that now if you talk about the foster home, we will just terminate this whole situation, this whole meeting, and you have to leave immediately.
Are these social workers or are they cops?
We are not sure who
It is
they
the
are.
I believe it was social workers, but I think they said there was also a police officer there. But
Well, they're on standby. They said that. But do they meet at what office are they meeting at?
I'm not sure. So it's really frustrating.
Yeah, we need the principals on here to do the show.
So yeah, we'll get them back, and hopefully they'll be able to stay on. And if it doesn't work out, we'll have to reschedule when they have a better signal somewhere. But this is, this has been a really
it's an interesting story. I'm not certain I would define it as human trafficking, John. I'll be honest with you. I can understand, a mother saying that because her children are kidnapped, because a lot of people might say that, but legally it may not be under the EU. I do have a question. Can you hear me now, Monica?
Yes.
Okay. So there is such a thing as the EU human rights. There is a law, a convention, the Convention of the Rights of the Child. You can go to the European Court. Why hasn't your lawyer taken your case to the European Court? Or do you have to go through the process in Finland first before you go to the European Court?
Norway.
There is a requirement that you
saying
have to go through the whole process nationally before this international court can be able to take your case. And then there is also a provision that if something has to be dealt with immediately when life is in danger, for example, then they can take something on faster or without the due process. You have to take into consideration here that the children under 12 years old, they have no rights according to the legal framework nationally. Even so, the European Court of Human Rights has declined our applications that we have sent in, arguing that this has to be dealt with immediately, and there is a danger for loss of life or for damage to our daughters. So we have not been able to use this court yet.
Okay. How young is your daughter? How young was your youngest daughter when she was removed from the house?
She was 4 years and 3 months old, approximately.
Does your youngest daughter relate to you when you meet her every 8 weeks?
It is extremely hard to tell what is going on. I could hardly recognize her when I first saw her after this abduction. And then then we went a whole year without seeing them again, and now from the summer of 25, it's almost like I cannot tell what is going on anymore. It's like we are all playing a theater. We are not allowed to talk to each other. We are not allowed to show our feelings. We are, you know, you're just sitting there on your bum and you don't know what to say. And if you say something, suddenly you say something that these idiots think you say the wrong thing. This is not allowed, and then they will just stop the whole conversation. They will, and then you sit there again, not knowing what to say, not knowing what to do at all. So in this situation, 2 hours every second month. From this, I cannot tell really how damaged my daughter is. I can tell that the oldest daughter is still herself, and the youngest daughter, I don't think she is herself anymore. And I have no idea what methods they are using. I know that they are using drugs. They are drugging these children down because they cannot handle to have normal children. They want the money. They don't want the children. So they are using drugs. They are using all sorts of. They are using threats. They say, for example, that if you tell this, if you say this, then I don't know. Maybe they will not get anything to eat that day. I don't know what methods they are using, and from what I can see, I can't really get to what is going on. I don't know.
Do you have access to your children's medical records?
Do I have
access to their medical records?
I know nothing at all. When I log on to the digital system here in Norway, I cannot even see that my children exist anymore. They have been deleted from what I am able to view. I know the people, they are being dragged from one place to the other, from doctors' examinations to psychologists, psychiatrists. They have.
How do you know that?
Been with the police.
How do you know that,
in a police investigation. Sorry?
How do you know that they're being taken from doctor to doctor and to psychiatrists?
Because when we go into court, these court processes need all the documents to be revealed, and through your lawyer, you will get to know all the documentation. You will not get any of the documentation direct.
Yeah, so basically they learn about what's going on with their kids in these court proceedings.
John, do you know how many proceedings that Monica and Peter have had to attend or could attend? Or
quite a few. I know that. Let's get them back in here. Sorry, Monica. Oh, now we can't hear you again. I can't hear you. Can you check the mic, Peter? Reconnect it into the phone. Yeah, that seems to help. Just unplug the microphone from the phone. Yep. How about now? Can you hear us? Anything? Nope, we still can't hear you. Let's disconnect and come back in, perhaps. That will fix it. Still can't hear you. Yeah, the things that they find out about the children, though, comes from the court. So the court discloses
how many times
something.
have they been to court, though?
That's a great question. And
my question is, who legally is the guardian of these children? Is it the state?
Yes. Barnevernet.
I mean, so there's enough here to call upon the EU, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which was established circa, I think it was 1999. They commissioned me in 2000 to do my first human trafficking investigation globally. And it wasn't the National Center, it was the International Center. And their focus at that time was on, if you and I are married and you're a sheikh and I'm an American woman, and you decide in Jordan, you repeat it 3 times, we're divorced, and then you take the children away under the Quran, then I'm lost in limbo land. And so then that was the kidnapping of a spouse, whether it's a mother or a father, it doesn't matter which, when there's an international couple. And that was one of the reasons why the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children was first set up. But the Convention on the Rights of the Child opened up an enormous opportunity for people to apply to Brussels, for some retribution to figure this out. But these cases do go on for a long time. But internally, the state taking somebody's kids when the kids haven't been neglected, haven't been raped, and haven't been starved to death and beaten to death is unconscionable.
I mean, dude,
it's
you saw the video of the kids. Horseback riding, they're playing in snow, they're going on all these trips and boats, whatever. That's like awesome. I want to grow up there.
Well, that's you can still have all those pictures, and you can
right.
A lot of evil can go behind closed doors, and I'm not suggesting that by any means, but it just seems to me that if and in fact if something like that did exist, then Peter and Monica would have been prosecuted by now. But
right.
The fact that they're fighting for the children, but I don't understand the system where there's some justification. When we think of Scandinavia, we think that maybe it's socialist, more so certainly than the United States, but taking kids away for no reason.
Well, those children, here's the reason. Those children are worth $200,000 a year to foster homes.
Yeah, but that still isn't a justification of that. That's not the reason.
No, justification.
There's a different
but it's
reason.
A motive.
Well, that could be, but I'm telling you, my gut tells me, having done these type of cases for decades, my gut tells me that there's a whole nother picture to the system, because it doesn't make any difference. It has to be some type of a state indoctrination.
Monica, can you hear us now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, great. Yes,
is there such a thing? Because I know that the U.S. ambassador from Norway, okay, so it's the Norwegian ambassador to the U.S., is a woman, and she grew up in youth socialist clubs, or I don't know the exact name of it, but it's a socialist club for youth in Norway. Are kids indoctrinated in Norway to believe in the state above everything else?
This is probably one of the main reasons for the whole system. They need to create workers for the system, and if you don't go to a school, or if you do things your own way, then people start to think for themselves, and you get children who grow up to be adults who can be independent, and
right.
They will maybe not fit into this system that is desired by the people ruling and governing. This is one of my thoughts. So there may very well be a reason here, having to do with our lifestyle, of course.
Did you grow up in a culture in Norway where this even existed? I mean, how old are you?
When I grew up, I don't think it was this bad. I don't think they took over 1,000 children out of their homes every year like they do now. The spike was just under 2,000 children in 1 year, around 2018, I think. And it was a little bit reduced. In my childhood, it was nothing like this at all. But the problem has been here, I think, all the way since World War II. It has just had different phases. Indigenous people in Norway have been, their children have been taken away from them for a long time. I have never known about it. And this is something that the organization where it is the Child Protection Service who does this and the police, this is a fairly new thing starting after 2000. And it has just gotten worse and worse.
So what you're saying is that you've really noticed this after COVID. Or no, I'm sorry, 2000. You're saying in the last 20 years.
Yes, around the last 20 years. I can give you the exact year where this really changed. The year is 2007, if I'm not mistaken, and it was kicked off by one single case where a boy was murdered. He was beaten to death, probably, by his father. And this story has been twisted, and after, because it was not his biological father who did this, and it's a story that has been turned upside down. It was a child that was neglected where he was living, and he was also neglected from the Child Protection Services, who got notified about this child a lot of times and did not care about doing anything about it. And when this child died, his name is Christopher, and he is referred to as the Christopher case. After this year, everything just the number of abductions skyrocketed, and all over Norway, this case was in the media, and the population was made to believe that Norwegian parents cannot be trusted. You know, all this the story that they want people to believe. And then it just got worse until 2018, which is the year where we had the Lobben case in Strasbourg in the European Court of Human Rights. The Lobben case went all the way to the Grand Chamber, and she won in this Grand Chamber of the International Court, but she was met with, when she came back to Norway and demanded to see her son, she was met with the police, and she was treated worse than any. She spent 11 years of her life, if I remember correctly, just to case to the ECHR and the Grand Chamber. And it has had absolutely no effect. She has not seen her child. She has not seen the money that she has been promised, and the Norwegian state just doesn't care correcting anything in these. You know, we have more cases which has been through this court, this international court, and they, in practice, it doesn't matter. The Norwegian government does not care what the International Court of Human Rights is saying in any of these cases. So none of these families have ever seen each other. This is this is the situation that we are living in here in Norway now. That we have a government that does not abide by any law internationally or nationally, and really the European Court of Human Rights is just an illusion, just like the national so-called legal system is also an illusion. At least when it comes to social or cases where you have civilians against the state. A civilian will not stand a chance in any case against the state in Norway.
So what about the journalists in Norway? Are they scared to cover this type of case? Are the lawyers, helping you the way they should be? Or are they scared of going up against the state representing clients like you?
There have been several journalists and editors that have told me that.
I tell you, the devil's on this case, John. They don't want me involved,
We're doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, they don't want me involved in this. I mean, this is interesting to me because she's saying that it's okay, so it's politics. It goes back to 2000. Yeah. She didn't grow up in a situation like this, which means that something happened, but it doesn't mean that we can't take on this type of case or take on this type of system and turn it into a human rights. I mean, this is not the first time we can take it. Peter, you were saying can you hear us, for God's sakes?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so continue about the lawyers and the journalists.
Well, this journalist, she was very famous. She made one of the most seen TV series in the national state TV channel, and she started to make a film about this, and she got support from the government and everything because they thought she would angle this to like make a film to tell how good the child protection is. Uh, and maybe that was her goal as well when she started out. But she did some research and figured this just can't be a film. This has to be a documentary. So it changed the plan for the film and did more research. Figured out that this this is too serious. This can't wait for the documentary to finish. I have to.
What happened to her? What happened to the film, the documentary, and the journalist?
She started to publish some of her research on the way to making this documentary. And on the way, she was threatened that first they will take all her money. And she was like, I don't care, this is too important. So she kept going. And then usually they would, any journalist would be told that if you keep going, we will take your child. She didn't have any.
Take your child? Who? Wait, hold on, Peter. Who's telling a journalist they're going to take their child? You've got my attention, okay? But yeah, somebody told me that,
that's basically the government. That's the child.
Well, who? I mean, it's not the government. No, it's a when people talk about the government tells somebody something, it's a human being. Who would have told?
Yeah, someone coming and tell that if you don't shut up, we will take your child. The thing is that she didn't have any children, so the usual way they go just didn't work. So they took all her money, but she kept going and didn't shut up. And then after a while, she got silent.
What do you when you say that they took her money? The government froze her bank account. What year was this?
And this is in 2018, 17, 18, something around that. So all of a sudden she turned silent. It was impossible to get reached for her. We couldn't get her on phone, we couldn't get her on email. She didn't publish anything. It was totally impossible to get in touch with her.
Who was this journalist?
Her name is Katrine Hagen. Katrine Hagen.
Say her name again.
Katrine Haugen.
Katrina.
Haugen.
Katrina,
Hagen.
but with an E. The last letter is an E, not an A. But otherwise, Katrina, yes.
Haugen.
So, in 2019, we were visiting some friends who was running a radio channel in Austria, and we told them that we just couldn't get a hold on her anymore. And the guys down there who was running the radio channel said that, we heard from her, and they threatened to take her the children from her sister. So that's why she just disappeared from all kind of publishing.
Well, either this story's got legs to it, or somebody's got a vivid imagination. But I mean, this is easy to track down.
Well, I tried to search for Katrina Haugen. The English translation to Norwegian is not great, so I may have totally misspelled her name. But anyway, yeah, this is a messy story, and it should be covered more. You know, if you think about how many people were abducted in October 10th, or October 7th, that led to a multi-year war. But this doesn't get covered at all. These children.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, we need to look into this more and try to find out what the facts is and to put the paint on the canvas, because Peter and Monica are looking at through the eyes of their experience within a community of 300 or 400 families. And then they're saying that 1,000 or 2,000 kids a year are being taken away by the state.
Correct.
So, you know, there's a market there, and the question is, what are they doing with the kids?
You know, 1,000 kids out of 5 million population.
Well, it's 300
is a lot
families.
higher.
Oh, it's 300 families that are being homeschooled.
Yeah, but 1,000 children nationwide are being taken yearly. That was 2018, I think.
So I have a question. Do you know if your children are actually attending a school? And if so, which one?
We know they go to school, but we are not supposed to know anything about where they're kept. Like if they're in the south or the north, east, west. We are not allowed to know anything about that.
They hide the children from the parents.
This almost sounds, you know, this almost sounds like what Americans did, you know, 150 years ago when we took the Indian kids off the reservation and put them into institutional schools and basically said to them, we're going to wipe out your heritage and you're going to be more like white people. And they did it in Canada as well when the Indians up there. So I'm wondering if they're in states. So this sounds more like the CCP in China than it does the Norway that I know. And as I say, I haven't been to Norway in years, but I never have run into something like this.
You don't typically understand this. It's not humanly possible to really understand this until you have lived through it.
I agree with you.
Even me, I have studied cases. I have really studied this, and I never understood the depth of this until this day in March 2024, and now I understand. I thought I knew a lot, but I didn't.
It's pretty evil.
What's coming up now is that, well, we said that the reason for taking children has changed all the time. Like at the moment they actually took them, the reason was that we were homeschooling, and it says in the document we got that they are supposed to be taken without any investigation. And that's of course written because they had done so many investigations prior to this without finding any reason to take children. So after using this homeschooling reason, they figured, oh, this was not legal, so they changed the reason. For the oldest child had compared her experience of being of the police coming into our living room with weapons and taking out the 4-year-old and the 8-year-old girls. She had compared this at the age of 8. She compared this to what the Gestapo and Nazis did during World War II. And she had said her comparison out loud.
It is exactly what the Gestapo did.
So your 8-year-old said that.
At the first day, well, after her experience comparison, and she said it out loud. So
what did they do to her?
Well, they took her from the house at gunpoint, just like the Jews were subjected to under.
How would your 8-year-old know about Gestapos and Jews in World War II in 1930s?
We have had a homeschooling education where we have studied, we have read a lot of books there are books for children about World War II. They are written for children, and we have read them. And she has understood them and taken this knowledge into practice.
Okay.
She has made the comparison from her own life experience and from what she has read about history.
Okay, so she's been exposed to it. Most 8-year-olds are not, at least here in the United States. That's why I'm asking.
She has been. We have been going to the library where she usually can borrow books, and she can choose what she wants to read about. And we have a homeschooling group as well. And naturally, you will have some themes like history and wars, and I don't know. This is a normal theme to go through, and we have done that, and we have read about it.
Are any of the other, Monica, or any of the other families that are in your homeschool group, have they had any of the same experiences as you and Peter and your two daughters?
There are lots of homeschoolers who have this experience, but in our group, we have, I don't know, I don't think they have this experience in our group. They are very well aware that they are in danger of having this in their lives, and they are very proactive. And they have done something very clever. They have contacted the newspapers, they have invited journalists into their homes, and they are showing how homeschooling works. And this, I think, this has been very clever of them. To my knowledge, they have not been through any of this yet.
Okay, so that tells me, John, that the system doesn't like to be covered, which means that that's why we have to cover this story.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was, well, as I said, after they were taken, this was the second reason for executing the kidnap. Well, then we pointed out the United Nations Convention for Children, saying that children cannot be punished for their opinion. They are free to speech. They can express their feelings. They can express their thought. They are free to have their thought. So they had to change the reasons again. And the next reason was that the parents had pointed out that the Child Care Protection Service had broken their law. So the reason, well, because we appealed to the court, was now the new reason for executing the kidnapping. And after this, the next reason was that we had told publicly what they had done to us.
It's crazy.
And that's what we're going to court. That's what we're going to court for now on coming Monday. So.
Well, here's what I'd say to any of the. Here's what I would say, Peter, to the people that are doing this, that are involved in this. It's predatory behavior. This is what predators do, and people should not assume just because we live in the West, where we claim to have Western civilization, that we do not have policies that are not predatory policies. When you take a child away from a parent, when a parent is just homeschooling, when the child is happy and safe with the parent, and the parent isn't starving the children and is not beating the child and is not neglecting the children, there's something wrong with the system. The stated reason for why they did this, I don't accept. The motive for doing it is unacceptable. But the system needs to be exposed because it's not right. They're acting like predators. Yeah. They're acting like baby snatchers.
And what they're doing now, because we said to the court that our children are, well, they're supposed to have a lawyer. They are supposed to be represented. They are supposed to be in the court and speak out how they are thinking, how they want their lives. And they're supposed.
Why is the judge going along with this? Why is the judge not bringing the children in and and not putting them on the stand, but in the judge's chambers asking them questions?
So that was some of our requirements to the court, which they denied. Some other requirements was that we will record the hearing, the court hearing, and the national law states that everything in the court shall be recorded. And this, the CPS says that no, we don't want any recording. And
well, I don't care. I don't care what the government says. What does the judge say? And what is your lawyer doing in terms of fighting for your rights to have it recorded, have your kids in the courtroom, having them represented by counsel?
So what the judge says is that children are not supposed to be represented. They are not allowed to get there. They are not allowed to have a lawyer. They are not allowed to have anyone speak for them, except for a strange man that they have never met before, who will meet up with them and ask them if they want to go home or not. And so
this sounds too crazy to be believed. I got to tell you, because it seems to me that your lawyer competent? Is your lawyer competent enough to protect them?
The thing is that the lawyer is paid by the government. So if the lawyer actually does a good job, she will not be a lawyer anymore.
Your lawyer, wait, let me understand this for a second. Your lawyer's being paid by the government? Your lawyer?
Yeah, in every child protection case, the lawyer is paid by the government. So if the lawyer does a good job, she will be fired and never get a job again as a lawyer. The license for being a lawyer is suspended if you do a good job for this. So
I just want to understand this because of the language difficulty here for some people to understand. I just want to make certain this is your lawyer who represents you and Monica fighting to get your kids back. That lawyer works for the government? Or is it the lawyer that represents the children?
All lawyers are, by definition, a part of this system that is the enemy of the civilian population.
Got it. Okay.
This is the way this human trafficking can work. And there is
I'm not certain. I'm not certain, Monica, if this is human trafficking, and I have to stop you at that. But do I think it's a corrupt system? Yes. We have seen 20 years ago, I did an international adoption investigation in Guatemala, and the lawyers and the system was absolutely corrupt, and the lawyers were making money and they would lose it. So I didn't understand. I just assumed, John, you didn't tell me, or if you did, I didn't get it, that I thought that Monica and Peter had their own independent lawyer themselves. I didn't realize that their lawyer and the lawyer for the children are lawyers for the state.
There are some people who can afford this. Usually those people are filthy rich and they will not be targeted by this system because of that.
Okay.
So now you have a new attorney?
Yeah. The one we had before, well, actually, I had Monica refused to have one. She will speak for herself. And because that Monica was denied access to the court during her own case. But the one, I accepted a lawyer, so I got into the court. And during the hearing, the lawyer whispers to me, because I'm pointing out which laws she should talk out about. And she whispered to me that if I talk about these laws, they will take my children and grandchildren. So I don't dare to do that.
What do you mean take your grandchildren? This, Peter, do you understand how nuts this sounds for somebody to be threatening you that you're going to take your grandchildren away from you and your kids are under 15?
No, he said that the attorney said that if she brought the laws up,
This lawyer had the youngest children. Her youngest child was 10, and her oldest was 23 or something. So the oldest child of this lawyer had her own child. So this lawyer was a grandma and a mother. And she was afraid of presenting the high laws of the nation and the European Commission, well, what do you call it? Convention of Human Rights. And she just refused to present them in court. And she whispered to me that she can't do that because she was afraid of losing her own child and the grandchildren.
So I want to.
And you guys give out the Nobel Peace Prize. This is going to be a fun investigation.
Yeah.
I want to point out another thing here, and that is that this convention that we're talking about also gives anyone the right to speak for themselves, and you are not supposed to be to have to be represented by anyone to go into any court of law.
The right for self-representation. Right.
That's right.
So that's another point. We demand the law is to be followed. If we are going into a court of law, they are to follow the law, and that starts before this hearing starts on the first day. And so far, we have just lots of evidence that they do not care about any law. Petter has had to have a lawyer to even get into the room, and that is a part of the problem. You are required to get a lawyer. Like we are saying that the children are to be represented by a lawyer because they are not able to speak for themselves this level. I do not want a lawyer, and Petter does not want a lawyer. And these are our rights to decide on, all of them. And this is what we are challenging now. We are challenging every point of this system. You can really just go through all the points and all the articles of the European Human Rights Convention, and you will find that in this case, well over half of them are not respected at all, and can be used here. But the thing is,
Amal Clooney should take this case.
Sorry?
Amal Clooney should take this case. George Clooney's wife should take this case.
Somebody should take this case from abroad.
She's
actually.
perfect for this type of case.
Somebody should come in here from abroad, because Norwegian people cannot handle this. Even if, no matter what title or position you are in, you will be threatened, just like the other ones. That we have talked to quite a lot of lawyers now, probably around 10 different ones over all these years. And I can tell you, there is no lawyer, not any accredited licensed lawyer under the Norwegian system that is able to defend anyone in this type of situation. There is nobody.
Well, maybe we can see what we can do after we do a little bit more investigation on this. What do you say, John?
I think so. I mean, I've been annoyed that this project, this case hasn't made any progress, and these children are still separated from their families after almost 2 years. You know, if they were guilty of something, it should have come up at this point. So why are they still being held hostage?
How many more children are being held by the system? How many more families are being affected the way your family's being affected as of today that you know of?
Around, we can just say roughly between 10 and 20,000, probably at least 20,000, if I'm going to say what I think. and maybe worst case scenario a lot more, maybe even double of that.
Well, you're saying 10 to 20,000 families or 10 to 20,000 children have been taken away from parents and they haven't been returned?
Children, at least, I mean, I estimate this between 10 and 50,000, anywhere between that, but the Norwegian government is withholding all information. It is not, we cannot get that information anywhere.
They stopped publishing these numbers in 2018. So our estimations are guesswork from the 2018 numbers, and also how much money they are getting from the government. So we kind of estimate based on how much the money has increased.
This has been going on. So they started. Norway started getting a lot of negative attention internationally about
that
Barnevernet.
we're just warming up.
Well, this was a BBC story in
Right.
2016. Barnevernet took a family of 5, and they like I said, there was Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway, which is on
Right.
Netflix right now. There were a lot of other cases, and Monica, Peter, can you tell me, was it Romania that was accepting children?
The one that you're referring to is the Gunnerad family. They were a part of some sort of religion that has a lot of followers around the world, and it sparked worldwide protests. And this was a man, I think, has been earlier in the parliament of Bulgaria. Is it? I think it is Bulgaria. Yeah, and this is why this case was blown up so much, because he had power to do this. He was well known and he was connected. Most people don't have the ability to level, and this family has left Norway.
Okay, so this is Bulgaria, not Romania. Yeah. Okay.
Well, no, that one family was Romanian.
Yeah, it is Romania.
It was Romania.
So that was the good. And then you have the Indian case, which is also about people who are not Norwegians, or at least they have a place, they have another place to go to and have lead their lives there. You know, I have never seen a Norwegian family pick up this fight on that level. So I attribute these cases that blow up in their face like this, I attribute it to the fact that the Norwegian people working in the child protection services are not able to know that these people who maybe they don't speak Norwegian, maybe they are like they are different than the Norwegian population, and these people working in the system think that the other people are vulnerable. They don't always make a correct analysis. But like I said before, you are very rich, if you are connected, if you are in good health, if you have a lot of people around you who will help you out, you will usually not be targeted.
Are there families that have never gotten their children back?
The Gunnerad family got all their children back, and
No,
the Indian also get.
I understand that, but are there Norwegian families that never get their children returned to them?
Definitely.
Most Norwegians never get their children returned. There are a few Norwegians that are able to get the children returned, and one of them is someone who's been talking to John already, and he got returned because he started throwing scissors at the social workers every time they came to his foster home.
The son.
The document says he was throwing scissors, so they were standing on the floor right in front of the social ones they got inside the house where he was kept. And they got so afraid that they returned him to his parents.
Actually, I will explain it like this. These people don't understand a normal language. They don't have a brain that works like normal people. They don't have a heart. They understand some languages, these are violence, money, threats. These are the languages they speak. And this is what they use against the families. And in the cases where the children are returned, many times it is because the child has actually used threats, violence, and what did I say? Money. Yeah. I don't know. They don't speak your normal language, really.
Monica and Peter, thank you very much for sharing your story. I think we need to take a big dive into this, John.
Yep, I agree.
Well, there is one important thing we have to address before we can end this, and that's regarding the case coming up now on Monday next week, the 20th of October in Arendal Tingrett. That's the courthouse in the southeast of Norway. Um, we are insisting that the doors are open and this is going to be a public hearing. That is denied by the local court. It's denied by the Court of Appeals, and it's sent to the Supreme Court. And there is a time frame in this. The Supreme Court probably will not make a decision until the case has started. And there is kind of hard to regret that a case is, well, if the Supreme Court says that, oh, we have to follow the law and allow a public hearing, then it's kind of hard to regret that and change the court hearing while it's in progress. And this court case is going on for 7 days. It's starting on Monday, ending on Tuesday the week after. So it's 5 days the first week, another 2 days the following week. And this has never happened to any child protection service court hearing before. The usual is 3 or maybe in a few cases 4 days, and we got 7 days. Because this case has so many aspects to it and so many lies. And I also got written from the judge because when I started this case, one of my requirements is that documents that contain fake information has to be rejected, and this lying under oath in court has to be there has to be consequences for them, because from the previous court hearing they presented lies in the documents and they were lying in under oath when they presented the documents, and the verdict is based on two basic things. One is that the social worker had presented a lie. It's based on one of her lies, and another is that I had answered the wrong answer to a question I never got. And this is the reason why they are refusing recording of the court. This is why they are refusing the public hearing, because it makes it so hard for them to lie. And the human rights says that everyone has the right for a public hearing in an independent tribunal. This is not an independent tribunal, and they're denying the public hearing, and all this stuff is now waiting for the Supreme Court to come over with their decision. And the ECHR, the Human Rights Commission, will not touch the case until the Supreme Court had made the decision. And well, because of that, the Supreme Court will delay this as much as possible. The district court also delayed as much as possible. So they're doing everything they can to make this court hearing violate the human rights. So the judge.
Well, that shouldn't surprise you, Peter. That's exactly what they're going to do, because that's the game that they have in motion since the very beginning when they took the children out of your home.
Exactly, and that's why we have to address this, get this publicly, and we have to make this to people's attention that the court system is so totally messed up.
It's not the court system. It's the country. No, it's not the court system. These guys are puppets in a government, in a system that works against the parents. It works for the state, against children, against the citizens. It's not the system. It's the entire government.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. This goes up to the top. It also goes to every politician who voted for this kind of system, because it's a predatory system against children. This harms children. These children are in their formative years, and to be taken away from their parents is going to be traumatizing. And if you get your children back and reunite with them, pardon me, it's going to be very traumatizing for all of you. For all of you. And these people don't give a damn. They really don't. That's clear. Nobody sane and nobody moral would do something like this. Yeah.
I would look into the budgets that Barnevernet has to see how much money they're spending, just as some sort of gauge on how many children are actually actively abducted and put in foster care.
That's our job, not theirs. That's our job.
I'm just saying that's an area we should investigate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I would be curious about how many employees Barnevernet has. You know, they probably have a listing of some, although if they're not disclosing this information.
They have government rat employees. I mean, this isn't a good job. This is a heartbreaking job. I mean, so they're going to have sociopaths and narcissists, that they're employing.
Yes.
To do a job like this. Guys, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing. It's a difficult case to fully understand. John did explain it to me before. I did read a little bit about it, but I'm coming off of finishing a book, so I haven't had concentration on it. But it's definitely a story that we will look into.
Please let us know what happens with your court case, and I hope that they do allow recording.
Yeah, we'll be praying for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. And
we will be in touch.
I'm going to end this episode with the trailer for Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway, just to sort of give the viewers an understanding of, that case as well. Thank you all, and we will catch you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
আমি দেবিকা আর এ আমার হাজবেন্ড মিস্টার চ্যাটার্জি এ काम करता है नॉर्वे में ये मेरा दोनों बच्चा लोग हैं शुभ और शुचि छोटी छोटी खुशियां चुनो ओ शुभ शुभ हम अपना प्यारा कोलकाता छोड़ के नॉर्वे में अपना नया दुनिया बनाया पर उस दिन ये लोगों ने हमारा दुनिया छीन लिया
वेलफेयर ने ये पाया है कि आप अपने बच्चों की देखभाल सही से नहीं कर पा रहे What? आपके बच्चों की कस्टडी अब हमारे पास है क्या बोल रहे हैं
मेरा बच्चा ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग पे है प्लीज मेरा बच्चा वापस दे दो
Wilfred has picked up the children without informing the parents.
This couple here have been investigated for 10 weeks.
Cultural differences को लेके इन्होंने तो केस बना दिया आप पे बच्चों को हाथ से खाना खिलाते हो साथ सुलाते हो माथे पे टीके लगाते हो वो इनका तो ये कहना है कि
Mrs. Chatterjee has an unstable mind. This court rejects Mrs. Chatterjee's petition. No. Both children will be wards of the state till they are 18 years old. बच्चों की आड़ में बिजनेस चला रहे हैं ये लोग जितने बच्चे ये फॉस्टर सिस्टम में डालते हैं ना उतने ही पैसे मिलते हैं सबको
दोनों बच्चा चाहिए। तुम्हें कोई आइडिया भी है इस मैटर से मेरे सिटीजनशिप एप्लीकेशन में क्या असर पड़ेगा?
तुम्हें तुम्हारे सिटीजनशिप से अलावा और कुछ दिखता है क्या?
मैं जानू मैं रूह या रूह में जान।
I need my children, sir. I die, sir. Without my children, I die.
ये फैमिली मैटर
नहीं, ये देश का मैटर है। इनको लगता है कि हमारा भिखारी देश है, विथ नो कल्चर। जिस जगह हमको न्याय मिलेगा, दुनिया का कोई भी जगह, वहाँ जाके हम लड़ूंगा।
पूछो ये माँ के दिल से।
देविका जी, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
हम अच्छा माँ है, बुरा माँ है, पता नहीं, पर माँ हूँ सर।